3, 2, 1. Bring it a bit closer. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Season 6, Episode 5 of the Family Travel Australia podcast. We are Paul, Katie and Jasper from the Feel Good family. Join us as we explore this great country, Australia, its people, places and cultures.
Yes, welcome to the Family Travel Podcast, where we share the latest in RV industry news, road trip travel, caravanning, camping, product reviews, where to go, what to do, what to see, and so much more. Thanks for joining us.
I tell you what, we have got a special episode for you this week, coming to you live from the Let's Go Queensland Caravan and Camping Super Show. Yes, and we've got a couple of very special guests, and they're from, of course, one of the most popular television shows.
Thank you.
Yes, Channel 7's Creek to Coast every Saturday afternoon at 5:30 p.m. or check your local guides.
Look at you go. Yes.
Hey?
Yes, I'm very impressed with you, Paul.
Now listen, we've got Scott Hillier up first. Mate, welcome to the show.
No, bigger. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
As I always say, it's good to catch up with you guys. More likely than not at these shows.
Yeah.
You are my favourites, and I love hearing your travels, what you're about, and even more, I love interviewing you guys. You just got so much to talk about, so much to tell, so much to share.
And the tables have turned.
Yes, and now I'm being interviewed. No, thrilled to be on your podcast team.
Awesome to have you, Scotty.
Thank you.
Yes, and then, of course, we have got Olivia Degn, the good-looking one.
Yeah, I know. The lovely
she?
Olivia
She
Degn.
is
Yeah,
gorgeous.
I get that all the time. It's okay. It's okay.
Mate, look, Creek to Coast, it is, rating incredibly well across Australia because you can also stream it.
Yeah.
How long has the show been on air?
Geez, we celebrated 500 eps not long ago. So
Wow.
I've been host over 10 years. I think 12 years. It's been on air like 15, 17 years.
Okay.
So it's been around for a long, long time. And we're just waving to a few people. Yep, they're saying family, feel good family. Yeah. So I've been host over 10 years, and we don't take it for granted. We're so lucky with what we get to do. And you talked about being national now. We Channel 7 5:30, but we're also on 727 Mate nationally now. So I have been for a couple of years. So so the show that's run on the Saturday afternoon in Queensland gets replayed on 7.2 the following week around Australia. So we're starting to build our base up in Victoria, South Australia, Western Australia, and all those places.
All
as
those
well.
places where everyone wants to move to Queensland.
Like what you're doing now, people are hungry for information. They want to know where they can go, how they can catch a fish, what they can cook, all that sort of stuff. Very similar to what you do, but I'm thankful that you guys do it all on your own. I have a producer, an editor, a cameraman. They all turn up for Olivia and I, and we are spoilt.
You get to do the fun job.
We do, and I always say it, I'm the first to say, hardest worker is our camo, and then our producer, and then back to us, because here's your lines, go and talk, go and catch a fish. Oh, Scott, would you like another pie? Yes, please.
How good is that?
But look, we get to travel, we've all spoken at the show here, we get to travel the length and breadth of this country and state, and Liv and I often say to each other, look at it, we're so grateful for what we do. We do not take it for granted, and it's the people we meet when we're away, and it's also supporting and promoting local areas. We go to places and people say to Liv and I, why are you here? Like little tiny towns way out in Western Queensland. We're here to promote you. We're here to tell people this is where you can come and do this, and this. And they're so thrilled, and that puts a bigger smile on our face, that we're making the community happy, and they're thrilled to have us there. So that's a real big part of what we do.
How on earth, mate, did you actually get onto television?
I know, it's crazy. Who would put me on TV? It's actually an interesting story. Have you got 9 hours now?
Mate, you got about 7 minutes.
I'll make it really quick. But way back when videoing yourself wasn't a thing, these day and age, everyone's got a GoPro. Everyone's filming.
Sure.
So many, many years ago, I went on a fishing trip with my dad, a couple of his friends and a couple of my mates, and I used to always take a little handy cam back in the day.
Wow.
And this one particular trip, we caught a heap of big fish, and I'm saying, put the camera on me, and I'm doing these pieces to camera. Yeah, have a look at me, I'm the best ever, wow, wow, wow. unbeknownst to me, the owner of the boat, I never did it to get into television, but unbeknownst to me, the owner of the boat said, can you send me a copy? Because we caught massive red emperor and massive nannygot. It was like some of the best fishing ever.
Wow, okay.
So I said, yeah, no worries. So I dubbed him a tape. It was a VHS, actually, back when it started. Left it with him, and I never knew he was best mates with a guy called Ken Brown, Brownie's Coast Watch.
Oh, wow, okay.
So a lot of your family listening would know. And then out of the blue, I'm living in North Queensland. I get a phone call on a Sunday. I'll never forget it, from Ken Brown.
Wow.
He said, g'day, mate, it's Ken Brown. I'm going, piss off, Brady. What, my mates...
It's Brownie.
No,
it's Brownie.
Yeah, it's Brownie. I'm going, get away, Simon. Mate, it's... Then I heard the voice. I said, is that really you, Brownie? He said, it is, mate. I said, what do you want? And he said, look, we get videos, by the month, hundreds of them.
Yeah.
He said, but I've had a look at yours and you seem like a bit of a larrikin, a bit of a guy with good energy. We'd love to fly up and interview you about the vision of that story. And I'm thinking, well, I never did it to do that. I'm going, are you serious? 7 days later, a cameraman arrives in Townsville, drives to Ingham where I was living, sits me down on this chair and starts interviewing me, and I'm animated as I am. When this happened,
Can't imagine it at all.
And then it went to air, and I saw myself on TV, and I thought, hello, this is pretty cool. And then that's how it started. So then my involvement was very small.
Right.
They'd send a cameraman up, and I might shoot 5 fishing stories in a day, and that might do them for 6 months. I was on sparingly. Once every 3 or 4 months, I might get a segment. And then it just slowly grew,
Wow.
slowly grew. Things changed in the Creek to Coast TV world, and then I was offered to host the show, which I said no to 5 times. I just couldn't think, we want you to host this show. There's no way I can do that. There's no way.
Wow, mate.
Yeah, and then the rest is history. So I said yes finally, and then and I remember thinking, if I get 3 or 4 years in television alone, let alone hosting a show, I've done well. And I think we're on 10 or 11 or 12 years now, touch wood.
Yeah.
And still going okay. Yeah.
Look, we spoke to your EP earlier. Apparently they're holding some auditions next week. So
I'm gone. If Jasper's one of those little fellas, I'm gone. Which is your young fella, obviously. Yeah.
Listen, Katie, as you may or may not know, but was Stephen Terry Irwin's personal assistant.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yes, and Steve-O, actually, that's how he started. With a handy cam, with his dad catching crocs, filming himself.
He is one man I wish. A lot of people say to me, "Oh my God, you got the same energy as." I've never met the man, but I would love to have met him.
Yes. You two in a room together would have been high energy, high impact.
Yeah, what would it have been like, Katie?
Yeah, he was amazing. He was an amazing man. But you've got that same, it's the passion and enthusiasm that just oozes so naturally from you.
Yeah.
And it's infectious, and that's exactly what Steve-O was like as well. So we love you, Scotty.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I guess there's a fine line too with that. It's got people can try and be forced with that.
Sure.
You either can do it naturally, or you can be a little bit, we're trying to, and that's what one of our biggest compliments too is with when Liv and I are on the road. People come and meet us, and they're not sure what they're going to get. Oh, is this guy going to talk to us? Is this girl going to talk to us? Are they going to think they're too cool for school? And then after they spend 3 or 4 days with us, they're like, oh my God, you're just like you are on TV.
Right.
You're human. You're normal. It's like, well, yes, we are. And I reckon that's our biggest compliment. That's when people say to me, you're just so down to earth and you're like you on telly. Liv and I often talk and say, it can't get any bigger. That's the nicest compliment.
What about your family? Do they think, oh gosh, I wish he'd tone it down?
The wife doesn't. She tells me to tone it down. Well, anyway, you've been talking too much. Look, my wife's a non-limelight lady. I've been with her since school, Helga, so I've been with her for a long time. She knows my ins and outs. She knows how I tick. And it's just never... She's done a couple of shows over the years, but the limelight for her is just not for her. She's more than happy for me to go and be the centre of attention and do my thing. Mm-hmm. And she's just more than happy to sit in the background. And it was tough with the kids younger, because I was doing a lot of travelling and they were, growing up. But yeah, the kids were cool, and they all loved their fishing. So we all did that when I wasn't filming. We were outdoors in the boats up in North Queensland.
Great.
And the boys are a bit older now, and getting Helga to watch Creek to Coast is like pulling teeth. Honey, I'm on the show. Oh, yeah? Okay. You want to watch your hubby? Yeah, probably not. Let's watch Everybody Loves Raymond repeats or something. Yeah. But no, she's very proud of what we do and what I've achieved. But she's not. She doesn't come to the function. She's not one of those that comes to all of those fancy dinners. She's more than happy. And to be brutally honest, I'm the same. I do what I do. I'm in the public and I love what I do. But I love nothing more than being at home and not filming and just chilling out, going over the beach with the dog, walking with her. So as much as we get the big vibrato and big Scotty and we're doing all that, when I'm on song, it's happy, but I love nothing more. And you guys are probably the same. It's nothing better than just chilling out and just having a bit of time.
Yeah, I think, your perspective changes as you get a little bit older as well, doesn't it? And the
guaranteed.
important things change. And that time, that quiet time with your loved ones is so important.
Oh, guaranteed. And even where we live, like I bought Mum and Dad's house on the sunny coast, and as a kid, we just took it for granted. Yeah, we're on the beach, run 20 paces, we're on the beach. Now, every day we walk over, we look at each other and go, how lucky are we? How lucky are we
Thanks,
living
Mum and
here
Dad.
on the sunny coast? Yeah, thank you, Mum and Dad. They're both up in heaven. Bless them. My biggest fans. I'll never forget, Mum. Creek to Coast is either a full half an hour episode or there's segments made into a show. Mm-hmm. And when there was segments made into a show, I'd only do the hosting and then the last segment. And Mum would always ring me. You know, Scotty, you should be on the show more. I'd say, Mum, it was just a put together segment. Yeah, but you should probably at least do 2. My mum was my biggest fan ever, and another, because I can talk for Australia. So Mum and Dad, because they were pensioners, they used to get the free travel train with Queensland Rail, and for many, many years there, Queensland Rail sponsored our shows, and they'd run repeats of our stories. So Mum and Dad would get on the train, and Mum reckons any segment with me that would come on, my dad would walk to every chair, through every carriage, and say, oh, you wouldn't believe it. Well, that's my son. Mum reckons for an he'd walk, oh, you wouldn't believe it. What's that, mate?
What are the chances?
Oh, that's my, but yeah, next guy. What are the chances that I'm on this train and my son is on that train? Like, hey, do that there and all the way back. It's so beautiful. Yeah. So they were my biggest
I
fans.
love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, listen, we can't let you go without getting some fishing tips.
Yeah, good idea.
Oh,
please,
okay, yes.
Because, I guess the number one important thing is to actually buy a rod, and
Have
Paul
a
has
go.
done that, but it hasn't come out of its packaging yet. I don't
Paul.
think the reel has even gone on.
Don't tell me that, Paul.
Look, I tell you what we should do. We should do like a trip somewhere. And it can just be 101, fishing for dummies or something.
Oh, I'd love, Liv and I, we'd love to make a half hour of it. Creek to Coast, let's go.
All right, done.
Paul, but you know what'll
where's
happen?
the producer? Yeah.
Katie and Olivia will outfish us. The ladies always do.
Righto, I'm up for the challenge.
I'm good. A couple of tips. Did you want some tips?
Yes.
Always, okay. Take your rod and reel out of its packaging. That helps. Okay, there's
Thanks,
number
Kate.
one tip. Okay. Oh, look, the biggest one, and like your viewing audience, the Feel Good Family team out there, the family that are listening, you're going to places where you've never been before. A lot of people are travelling and they're listening to you guys for advice. My advice is to go into the local bait and tackle store if you go to somewhere new. Yep. Go into the local bakery, the local pub even, and just ask some questions, because a lot of people can go to places and you get a bit disappointed because you've never caught any fish.
Right.
So go to the local areas, ask those sort of questions, or even better, if you can afford it, go for a half-day charter with someone.
Yeah,
in
good
the local
idea.
area,
Yep.
and you go out and they'll show you the tips and tricks for that area, and then if you're there for 3 or 4 days, you're set. You know exactly what you're doing. But the other tip, if you can't afford any of that, or you just lob in a nice little spin reel that's a 2-piece that's easy to travel with.
Right.
Spin reel, I'm talking about a little egg beater. Grab yourself a handful of lures and get some bait at your local bait and tackle store. But the big one is go and have a chat to a few of the locals.
Yeah, fantastic. We actually say that around anything to do with some of these rural locations. Go to the VIC, the Visitor Information Centre.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah, they love it there. They're all volunteer-led. They can tell you the goss.
And that's right. And if they're supposed to keep secrets, they won't.
No.
They will tell you. Now, listen, Martha, don't ever talk about that little spot on River X. Well, they can't wait to tell you. You walk in and they're telling you before you get out the door. It's like, and also bait and tackle stores, it's in their best interest to tell you where the fish are biting, because you're going to buy bait, you'll buy hooks and sinkers off them. So, but look, fishing it can be disappointing. Don't get us wrong. Here on Creek, we go away, and we sometimes 1 in the afternoon we're still waiting to catch a fish or two. So it can be frustrating, but yeah, go in, do the right thing, the little things right, and just enjoy it.
Okay, one more question I've got for you.
Yeah, I love it.
Talking about your dear old dad.
Yeah.
What was, dads have always got this handful of lines that they say to you.
Yeah.
Is there one line that he gave you that you caught yourself out saying to your boys?
Well, my dad swore a lot. There's a couple of stories I won't go into. My dad was old school, He'd hit his thumb with a hammer but walk into the forest to say ouch. He was like hardcore.
Okay.
And what I noticed this transition is when the grandkids come, he was a different man. I never heard him tell me once he loved me. It's just old school. But my grandkids...
He told everyone on the train, though.
That was the thing. He did, And another little thing, like when I'd go to different events, I'd keep a shirt for him every time. And I never knew what happened to him. When he died, he had like every shirt I'd given him kept.
Mate.
I know, blow me away. But he probably... His biggest thing was to me, it kept me real. He said, don't ever think you're bigger than what you are, especially in the TV world. He said, you come to a road where there's a crossroad where you can get caught up in all of this stuff where you think you're better than everyone and you won't last long.
Yeah.
He said, and he used to tell me you can't hide it. He said, if you think you're better than everyone and if you try and put on a bravado and pretend you're not, people will pick it.
Yeah.
He said, but if you just continue on who you are, you'll be loved forever. And, I'm
Great
still
advice.
going 12 years. Yeah, so that's probably his biggest thing. And if I ever thought I was getting a bit bigger than what I did, if it wasn't my wife hitting me over the head, it was him saying, oi, pull your head in, dickhead. Sorry, family show.
It's all good.
It's all good. We love the feel-good family.
Mate, thank you so much for jumping on and having a chat.
It's my pleasure. We should do it more.
We will.
Yeah.
Actually, we've even got it set up here to do a mobile call in. Maybe we should do a fishing app.
Mate, I'm
That'd
happy.
be
You
good.
can call me whenever you like. I'd love to be a part of your show.
All
It's
right,
good.
awesome. We're going to hand the reins over, mate.
Yes, we are.
To the lovely Olivia
Olivia's sitting
Degn.
there going, oh, Scotty, you're going to stop talking soon. Hey, see you, team. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Scotty. Such a legend. Gotta love it. And we love being here at the Super Shows and catching up with Scotty and the Creek to Coast team. And, we've done it now for 3 years, I think, where we've had the pleasure and the opportunity to get on stage and have a chat and share some of our stories and hopefully plant some seeds of inspiration for others to get out there and however they can, whether that's in the school holidays or for longer trips or, packing it all in like we did and taking that leap of faith. So it is such a great environment to come down and connect with people like Scotty and Olivia and hear from other travellers as well.
All right, I think Scott just almost knocked the camera over. Look at that. Olivia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys. You're saying we're just waiting for Scotty to finish talking. The story of my life is waiting for this man to finish talking. We love him, though. We love him.
Yeah, look, you guys must just have, the time of your life. You must laugh
We do.
through
We travel
segments.
together a lot. He's truly my mentor. Everything he was saying before, I've learnt so much from him and everything that he does. The way that he is too, you can't buy that. You can't go to uni and say, can I be like Scotty Hillier? You're born with that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I've got some questions for you. Talk to us about growing up, because I heard Paul was telling me, I think you must have mentioned to him that your dad perhaps wanted some boys in the family and
Yes.
but really brought you and your sister up with an amazing outdoor education. Tell us a little bit about
Big
that.
time. Yeah, so Dad wanted 2 boys. He got 2 girls, as you do. So Samantha Olivia became Samuel and Oliver very quickly. And he raised us skateboarding and surfing and fishing and outdoors and touching animals and just really appreciating nature. And we've both taken that through into adulthood and passing that on to our own children as well. But Dad was very much every weekend we'd go fishing. And he would master a new species of fish, sort of, until he got the biggest one that he could possibly get, then we'd move on to the next species. So growing up, that phase was very much offshore, big snapper, big nanny guy, and he would take us, much like he was taken by his father when he was 9, offshore in this tiny little tinny.
Oh, my God.
And I remember being so excited because I'm the youngest, so my sister went out when she was 9 first, and I remember her coming back just wide eyes. She'd seen whales, and it was just the most amazing day. And the same thing happened to me, and I fell in love from that moment on. We saw turtles breeding, which was actually the birds and the bees talk that I got
Wow.
on the boat for the first time, which I was about to swear then, but I won't. But I still remember, Dad's like, yeah, you know what these turtles are doing, girls? And we were like, oh, yes, Dad, we do. Okay, so I don't need to talk to you about it? Yeah, no, okay, be safe,
got it.
girls. Yeah, we got it. Whales doing the same thing, and it just, such big, beautiful, magical days. And in saying that, we had close calls too. We had anchored down in the middle of a shipping channel at one point, and the ships are on their way in and beeping at us, and we've got this tiny tinny, and the anchor's stuck, and just all these crazy moments that happened as a child that led me down this pathway.
True adventure, isn't
Yeah,
it?
big time.
Fantastic. Now, your love of wildlife, that was born out of your time with your dad and your sister. That led into Australia Zoo for you at some stage.
I was very surprised to hear that. And yes, so I've had an Australia Zoo stint. Like, who hasn't? Like, I feel like every time I speak to somebody, there's someone who's, especially living on the sunny coast, someone has worked there at some point or another. But yeah, so I actually went to University of Queensland and studied marine biology, thanks to the upbringing that I had. And I wanted to take that avenue, but then I discovered I had ear problems and couldn't dive. Okay. So then I went down a more of a terrestrial animal avenue, and found myself at Australia Zoo, and I worked in their entertainment department and did the shows, and which then progressed into more of a media role. There was a girl there who I idolised. Her name was Lauren. and everything. She introduced all the media in, and she would always do the Channel 7, Channel 9. You know, if we had a new koala born, she'd be the one talking about it. I just looked at her with just such amazement, and she was so poised. And if she's ever listening to this, hey Lauren, how you going? I loved you. And she ended up taking a new job, and I followed her around. I said, is there any chance that you'd put in a good word for me? And she did, and I was very lucky to then take on that role. And
wow.
And I so enjoyed it. And we had a TV series called Crikey Club, an online forum, for literally any new cool thing that was going on at the zoo at the time. I got to write and produce and present these mini little clip series that were going up online, and that's, I think, where it all began for me, that love of being on camera and sharing all the amazing stories that we had with everyone else.
Fantastic. I love that. And it's such a great background, you know, to be in that environment. Like what we were talking with Scotty, you know, that it's the Irwin factor as well.
Yeah.
That passion just spreads out amongst everybody who is in that environment. And, I mean, it oozes from you as well. And then, of course, now you're working with somebody who is so
very
full
much
of that.
a Steve. Yeah, he's our own Channel 7 Steve Irwin.
Tell us about some of your creek to coast adventures.
Right off the get-go, we actually got to go overseas. We got to go to Vanuatu. And I hadn't met the big man yet. I mean, he's a massive presence, and I've seen him on TV 1,000 times, but I hadn't met him. And just like he was saying, when people meet him, they're not sure what they're going to get. I was exactly the same. I thought, is he going to be as cool and fun and as big presence as he is on TV? And he absolutely was. And he took me under his wing, and still is to this day. And we went to Vanuatu first up, and we went offshore and caught these massive mahi-mahi and these bluefin trevally. And it was just the most insane fishing I think I've ever done. That and South Australia probably it just blew my mind. It was the kind of fishing that you hear about where you close your eyes and you just toss a lure in and you're on.
Wow. Sounds like the place I need to go.
It was just magic. And we were there with the Ni Vanuatu people, and they were so gracious and so incredible. And there was one point the boys were casting, and being a girl in this industry is challenging.
Sure.
It has its moments where even on shoots, we shoot with people that think, oh, okay, well, you know, she's a girl, what does she know? And you constantly feel like you have to kind of prove yourself. But in this scenario, the boys were casting out at this reef, and I just couldn't quite make it. Like, I always try to be as exactly the same, if not better than the boys whenever we're on these shoots. But the Ni Vanuatu and Scotty were helping me out. They would cast these big poppers out for me just to get me out to the reef, and then I could carry on. So it was very much like he's so supportive, and he'll always have my back in whatever we're doing.
Good.
Yeah, he's a great colleague.
Excellent. Now, you got a young family yourself.
I do, yes.
Yeah, this is exciting.
I know, I'm so excited, and I'm still in that phase of like, I have a son. I was pregnant and I have a kid, and I realised that everybody's got kids, but I'm still in that really early. I got to show you a picture on my phone.
Yeah.
This is Jack. So he's 16 months old now, and I'm just so in love with him. We had a rough start. He was a very colicky baby, and oh goodness, probably the first 3 months of his life didn't stop crying. And I just remember myself crying every day, and it was just such a slog. And my husband too are looking at each other like, what have we done? And once we'd sort of gotten him out of that stage, and then we're like, oh, okay, this is what it's all about. This is why people enjoy this. And now he comes along with me, and he touches everything, and he's learning new words. And like you were saying, that you see everything through Jasper's eyes, I see a stick and a rock through Jack's eyes, and it's just, rock. Yes, darling, it's a rock. How good? Let's go find another rock. And it's just incredible to do these experiences with Jack now. And my dad has now got his boys through. He's got 3 grandsons. My sister has 2 boys. Wow. So he's very much every present now is a fishing rod or a BCF shirt, and he is actually, believe it or not, hassling me for a granddaughter.
Wow.
I know. So he's
great.
Raised his girls, and
he probably, like our parents are like, now it's payback.
Yeah. It is. And I've never appreciated my parents more since I've become, especially my mum. She has been incredible with Jack. She is the reason I can continue to work. She's with him right now. So between my mum and my husband's mum, and now we've just started daycare as well, it takes a village just to be able to organise everyone so that, you can go to work. It just seems like such a simple thing. But, Scotty's got his 2 big boys now. He doesn't have to worry about that. He's looking at, what are you putting on over there? Maybe it's sunscreen.
I think it's lip balm.
Oh, a bit of lip balm. He's also got a bit of tinted sunscreen too, which we like to say is his foundation.
Oh my gosh.
Here it is. He's got it in his pocket.
How about that?
There it is.
There it is. Look at that.
Sometimes I have to help
viewers.
him rub it in, the big man. But anyway, back to Jack.
Now, so listen, the caravanning part of Adventuring Australia, that's going to be new for you then with with your young one.
Yes, so I'm in the process of trying to convince my husband at the moment that we should do even just a little 3-monther.
Yeah.
So it's tough with his job at the moment. I might have a better shot next year. But I've been learning about, especially at Jack's age now, because I was quite intimidated by the whole thing. And he's so little and he's just a little toddler that you can actually zip the fly screen and pop them into that little nook, their bunk bed, and they're fine and they're safe, because I knew he'd roll out and hit the floor, and that was a huge concern for me, so I thought I'd have to wait. But now I've got, like, after speaking to you guys all week, the confidence to give this a crack. So we're lucky enough to have some friends in the industry who are happy to lend us a Caravan, and we might just start with a little weekend.
Try before you buy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So start with a weekend and see how we go. And we've got neighbours on both sides of us who are keen caravanning families who are going to help us with everything that we need. And I've learnt so much this weekend. So we're very green as well. As much as we do amazing stuff with the show, as far as me actually going with my family, green as they come. So your ebook has inspired me big time. And it just seems like you guys are so happy. You are truly the feel-good family.
Oh, thank you.
And we want to be like you.
Oh, thank you. Well, honestly, the best decision we made. And, at the time, there's all of those feelings of, oh, my gosh, have we done the right thing? We had people telling us we hadn't done the right thing. But when we look back on it now, we're better people.
Yeah.
We like each other more.
You're awesome.
Most of the time.
You guys are
Used to be
honey.
terrible.
Honestly, just the charisma between you two as well. It just melts my heart. You two, obviously, I don't know what you were like pre-caravanning, but you can tell you're so close, and just the love and respect that you guys have for each other, it's admirable, and I'd love to emulate that.
Thanks, honey. Well, we're here for questions anytime, and we're stoked that we've inspired you to get out there as well. It's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Oh, wow, there you go. I wish we had another half an hour.
Scotty,
Scotty's he's lined up for round 2.
He has. He often takes my mic and his mic, and he'll do. Here he
In
is.
the last shot. I just want to be in the last shot before we say goodbye to all of your lovely viewers and listeners.
You know what? Coming to these shows, and you guys are ambassadors for Caravan in Queensland, and you do lots of stuff outside of these shows as well. So we would say, come and meet these guys. Come and meet them live.
We won't bite. We don't bite.
Yeah.
We often joke that Scotty's a shot of tequila in the morning. So if you
That is a joke. That is a joke.
if you would like to experience the metaphorical shot of tequila that is Scott Hillier, come on down and say hello to us.
Shot. Look at myself. I can see myself there.
I'm a bit more of a hot chocky, I think. You were a bit.
Wowzers. Katie and I are both definitely cappuccinos.
Yeah, I'm actually really a cappuccino as well.
They know the truth.
I love that Scott's taking over your time on the mic as well. This is perfect.
I'm out.
Tis the theme of our week. No, we love him. We love him.
So good to have you guys here, and we do hope that we get to, hang out with you on Creek to Coast at some point or otherwise, because we love spending time with you both.
We love spending time with you guys. You guys have been our favourite.
Good.
When your time slot rolls around during the day, we're like, yes, we feel like we're home now. We've got the Feel Good family here. We're good. Thank you for having us, though, guys. It means the world. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. I think it is time for us to wrap up for this week. Next week, I believe, is going to be Fraser Island.
Oh, yes. Didn't we have the most amazing week over there? We snuck it in while we had that little window of perfect weather. So good.
We literally ran around that island in 5 days, and I didn't flick a Lewis, Scotty, so...
No.
Naughty.
I know.
I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
We've got to swap the camera for the fishing rod.
Yes, we do. All right, time for us to wrap up. Thank you so much for joining us. For now, dream big, look after yourself, look after your family.
And happy trails.
Oh, there's the audio. Where is it, Katie? There it is.
I was getting worried I might have to sing.
I'd only just realised the camera's right there. G'day, camera. I was looking at this one.
Awesome, thank you.